today we have something really exciting. We've got Books and Cooks, which is a segment that airs here on Sun Prairie Media Center with Svetha Hetzler from the Sun Prairie Public Library. And, I'm excited because there's food on the set, and it smells so good right here. If this were smell-o-vision, you'd be able to smell the great smell of these wonderful food items here. And Books and Cooks is something that you've been doing for a while now. First of all, just tell folks what that is, and then we're going to talk about how you choose the books you choose.
Sure, yes. Well, Books and Cooks is exactly what it sounds like. It is combining people that are interested in cookbooks and bringing it into real life. And I really started the program as a way to highlight the library's collection and the fact that there are so many materials and resources at our public library to help foster lifelong learning and hobbies. And for me, cooking is definitely a hobby. So it was a way to combine my two worlds together.
Well, for me, eating is a lifelong hobby,
Yes,
and I
me
love
too.
to do it. So talk about how you choose the books that you do choose for Books and Cooks.
It's a really fun process. We have, as you know, several librarians that work at the Sun Prairie Public Library that part of their regular duties are to select books. So they go through professional review journals and other sources through the acquisitions process and order books that will become part of our library's collection. And of course, before they get onto the shelves, they have to be processed and cataloged, and there's a room in the back staff area where as books come in, they're ready for processing and cataloging. So staff get to see those books, obviously, because we have to work with them. So I'm always looking at what we're getting new to the collection, and I pay particular attention to the cookbooks for this show. And I try to pick things that will have some appeal, particularly from a cultural point of view. So trying to pick things that really represent diversity in our community. I also try to pick things that are of regional interest or just really popular right now.
And the book for this segment is Manna Cafe and Bakery's cookbook. And why was that so special to you?
That was really special to me because, I was a huge fan of the Manna Cafe on the northeast side of Madison. They did close early on in the pandemic. I chose it for this one for several reasons. One, because of the cultural significance of the Manna Cafe. They obviously were very rooted in Madison and Madison culture, so that local and regional culture. But also, Manna Cafe is really, as they describe it in the book, rooted in Jewish culture. And I really wanted a way to celebrate Jewish food, and I thought the Manna Cafe's cookbook did a really great job in that. It's certainly not a Jewish cookbook, and they say they're not a Jewish restaurant, but it's really in their soul, as they call it.
How is it different than other cookbooks?
Wow, this cookbook really is more than just a cookbook. The first 75 pages is really a memoir of how they started their business and their adventure. It starts in the early 70s when Barb Pratzel and her husband first meet, and they started their business after their honeymoon in San Francisco, and they started a bed and breakfast here, the Collins House.
Cool.
And then the Collins House, when they could no longer run the Collins House because of they didn't own it, it was a leased property through the city of Madison, so they had to pivot and change, and they went into catering through the bed and breakfast, and then they stumbled and found this strip mall that later became Manna Cafe and really a community hub.
What a great stumble, because the great food that came out of there, and you made some great food here that I get to try today. What did you make?
Today, I decided to make something that I always used to get when I went to the Manna Cafe, and that was their prune and chocolate rugelach.
Okay.
And I also made their apricot hammentaschen. And I made those two because I really wanted to focus on their Jewish food, and I love baked goods and pastries, so I thought I'd do that. And I definitely have missed going out to eat as much as we used to. And obviously with the Manna Cafe now closed, that's no longer an option, but this book gives us an opportunity to hopefully recreate some of our favorites.
Let's give it a try,
All right,
shall
do
we?
you want one of each?
Well, I mean,
why not?
I don't want one to feel bad. So
No, I would
try.
feel really bad
Right,
if you
exactly.
didn't eat. Yeah, you have to tell me what
So
you think.
So you say the rugelach has prune and chocolate in it.
It's prune and chocolate, which I know when you say prune, some people are like, oh, prune, but I think it's just so sweet.
Very good,
Yeah,
very
and I
good.
made these a couple of days ago. Actually, I made the dough on a Friday, and then I rolled out the dough and filled them on Saturday. And then you can really keep these in your freezer or fridge for days, even weeks if you wanted to, because they are a more time-intensive cookie.
And this one's called what?
That's an apricot hammentaschen.
Spell it.
Hammentaschen, Hammentasch, hammentaschen. Oh, there's a T in there. Okay, you got me on that one.
I had to have you do that so I'd have time to swallow it because they're both delicious. So if people want to try making these, the recipes are in the Manna Cafe and
They
Bakery
are,
Cookbook.
yes, and you'll find them in our library.
And that is an awesome way to really, try some of the local fare that had been around here for years and years, and also read about a great business and the way it came to be here in the Sun Prairie, Madison area. Thanks a lot, Svetha. And again, the book again is Manna Cafe and Bakery Cookbook, and it's available at the Sun Prairie Public Library, and you can see more about it on Books and Cooks.